So we'll start the recording here and I'll move all of the Discord members over to the main screen. So yeah, no trades at all today, just to show you on trading, on YouTube, just so you can see. No trades today on the Take Profit account. This is the evaluation, got just 1,000 left on that account to get that to the Pro account. My other 4 accounts have now, or are being transferred from Pro to Pro Plus because I hit 10,000 per account yesterday on all 4 of those, and the payout has gone through today and will be in my Wise account tomorrow, which I'll do a video on. But for today's breakdown, no trades on the overnight or on the actual RTH, and fairly straightforward in terms of why. I typically obviously like to be long most of the time. That makes sense, but the BX has been red now since, I think, literally the start of last month. So really tricky to trade the long side. And you can see how tricky it's been with just how small these candles have been in terms of range, right? Just really small days. We have had some bigger days, like, down here. And that's kind of where the BX was starting to turn light red. So you can see momentum was coming in. But then the next day, just small range. And obviously, we've completed so many of these higher time frame targets. This negative 62 came very close to that full negative 100 from the first high to high back in May 23rd. That would have obviously been 916s, came right to it and just ATR down twice. And this is the first time we've actually seen any ATR bars on the daily since the Trump tweet, which was the 9th of April. Pretty wild. So we had our first ATR down 2 times. This traded 2 times the average volume for the past 10 bars. This was 1.5, well 1.5 and over, just underneath 2. And this is 1.5 to the upside, and we're about to rebalance. We've actually got, it's a tricky one, because if this actually fails on the daily, we're going to go probably to a full traditional. So this here is like your sweet spot, in my opinion, in terms of support for now, just purely because if we fail that, there's probably somewhat of a likelihood of going back into the same anchor new high from the first anchor which we drew, and obviously that does line up with these negative 100s on these ATR bars here. So if we do, that is the support 22,220s. If we do finally come down to there at some point, but if we don't, if we find support where we are, and so far we have obviously respected that daily high to high once, and in fact 3 times, once, twice, and then second time the third time we traded a traditional that went all the way to its negative 100, and we traded the the same anchor, the high to high on that 38 at Monday on the overnight session at 350. That's the only anchor that I had, and then going into today, all I wanted to see was this 38 hold. But you can see, actually, it's from the high to high. So the high to, I keep missing that draw. It's got to be careful, right? Right there. And what I was looking at today was 267s for the support. Now, the reason I didn't take the long, 1, because we were below the previous day high. 2, the BX on the daily was red, and also on the half an hour that was red. It's not a major indicator, but it's just something that I would like to see if we were going to go to the long side in terms of momentum. Why go against momentum? It just seems crazy, right? Why buy when the trend is not there? Like you can see on the other indexes, the trend just wasn't there. We were breaking down. We were red on all time frames, and so therefore there was no real long for me, which allowed me to stay out of the trouble. And also in terms of the trend, I have an indicator that I look at, which is kind of just a trend indicator for me. And once we were getting at that level or below, this is basically a sit on hands environment. So when a fib extension lines up with a potential break of trend, that to me doesn't scream going long. It would if, let's say, that trend box zone was like here. Then you have the previous day high as support, trend in your favor. You would have, let's say, hopefully momentum on the half an hour, which we didn't have. So there's just lots of different confluences that we just didn't have today. And again, I will never be able to control when they are going to line up, because I can't control what price will do, right? I can only react when price gets to a certain level. And other influences or factors have to obviously line up, such as what I've broken down. And obviously they didn't, so obviously I can't do anything. So yeah, tricky one. And I've just been watching, there's a couple of stocks I have on my right hand side, and I've just been watching, not been watching them individually, but just watching them on the right hand side, and just so the market's just very only on a couple of stocks, but just all over the place, straight down, straight up, straight down. Just on 2 that I can see straight away, right? HIMS, straight down, straight up, straight down, just really, really choppy and kind of messy. I've only really gone for a couple, but even open, straight down, straight up, straight back down. It's just not really the environment market-wise that I would want to be trading. And straight up, straight down, OKOL, straight up, straight down. So it's just and again below trend. So yeah, there's not really much for me, which is a shame because I do want to trade. But at the same time, if I'm going to be putting risk on, the risk needs to make sense, or else what are we doing, right? We're just literally gambling to a certain degree. So I just want to make sure if I'm putting a trade on it, it makes complete sense. So remember the trade that I took yesterday in terms of that high to high. I know I've already broken it down with you guys and also on YouTube, but let's just break that down. Like, why is today different? Well, look at the trade that I took. Look at the trade that I took and the reason for it. So you can see on the overnight session, when I took that extension, the BX was green on the 5 minute and also the half an hour. You can see here we had traded. Look at this, fully momentum, just full momentum in the market. Traded a traditional, was above the midpoint. Traded that high to high above trend. Like there's so many different complements just there, just on you got literally high to high daily halfway back, traditional. Momentum's green, that's 3. High to high trades, that's 4. Above trend, which is 5. Above midpoint, overnight midpoint, which is 6. That's 6 right there. And you also had the obviously completions of that traditional. So again, I can't control when those levels are going to form. All I can do is when they do trade, you have to kind of just at least take a look at taking a position, and that's kind of what I would do. But there isn't anything for me in terms of actionable signals. I think actually momentum has pretty much made an all-time low on this week as well. Again, I don't use the BX strictly on the half an hour, but I am just looking at it as a kind of like a small actionable signal, just to see where we are momentum wise. Obviously this is going to flip green at some point, just like it does. When that is going to be obviously is a different thing in terms of being able to measure, but right now I know it's red, so like I don't think I'm going to miss out much trying to buy a naked long down here. Interestingly though, we have just gone right down to the extended trading hours low. So ETH, we've traded 99.6% of the range. Now if this is your low, how incredible would that be? How incredible would that be if that is your low? Look at this. Again, I'm not placing my bets, but 99.6% of the daily rate on the RTH has been traded. 291 points is the average, 291.88, and we've traded 290.75. So really nice stuff. I will leave it here, I think, and come back tomorrow and see if we have anything else worth taking. And yeah, if there's any questions, if I haven't covered anything or you want me to cover some more stuff, let me know in the room, and I will either answer them over this evening or I will answer them tomorrow when I get back online. Have a good evening, guys, and I'll see you all tomorrow.